So there's this rumor floating around that Valve might be adding a Windows compatibility layer to Steam for Linux. If true, this could finally open the floodgates, granting access to a huge number of previously Windows exclusive games, and twist the panties of precious PC gamers who believe, there are no games for Linux. And while the prospect of many a title being made available on Linux by the flip of a switch is an enticing one, there are some drawbacks that we should probably talk about. Hi, I'm Gardiner, the Linux Gamer, and let's dive into this. Now, honestly, I believe that something like this should have been made available by Valve a long time ago. I mean, having to run two instances of Steam, the Windows version in Wine and the Linux client for native games, it's just foolish and wasteful in my opinion. At a minimum, I believe we should have been able to download Windows games through the Linux client and modify the launch parameters in Steam to use Wine. But that bafflingly hasn't been an option. The rumor is that this will be an official mechanism for running a list of tested and supported games through Steam for Linux, and Mac too. And it'll also include additional testing functionality for unsupported titles. And cool, right? I mean, it's going to be interesting to see exactly how this gets implemented. That's assuming the rumors are even true. I mean, will Valve use Wine? What about DOSBox for older titles? Who gets to decide what is supported and what's not? Who knows at this point, it's all speculation. But yeah, I wanted to make a pros and cons list for this idea and look at it objectively. Pro, more games available for Linux. Having potential day one support for titles, even if they're not native, would be chilling to the critics who endlessly lament the lack of games on Linux, which would be nice. Con, fewer native Linux games. With this feature, there's always the potential for fewer native games. Think about it. There's less incentive to invest time and money into porting and supporting games natively to Linux when you can just tweak the compatibility settings, release the Windows client, and call it good enough. Pro, easier for beginners. Having these compatibility features built into Steam's UI will no doubt empower users, especially Linux newbies, to launch their favorite games without hassle. Con, shoddy support. No matter how good the majority of compatible games will play, there will always be outliers. When games don't work as expected, it'll look bad on Steam and on Linux, because that's just how people think. Pro, better performance, better compatibility. It's no secret that in many instances, Windows games played through Wine on Linux have better performance than the Windows game running natively, especially older titles, some of which are no longer playable on modern Windows operating systems. If all this holds true with Valve's compatibility layer, then this could be a huge selling point. Con, regression. Windows games on Linux will, in all likelihood, require first launch dependency installation, which is a huge step backwards in terms of user experience, as far as I'm concerned. Not only that, but third-party applications like Uplay, if they're even supported, are also a huge step backwards. Pro, wider support. With this being an official option, we might see companies jump on board and provide expanded support for Wine or the compatibility layer if it's not Wine. Devs might choose to use Vulkan in favor of proprietary alternatives, or they may optimize their code to account for players in compatibility mode. The sky's the limit. Con, DRM. DRM solutions from the likes of Denuvo and others prevent the use of compatibility layers. So games like Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, Middle-earth Shadow of War, Sonic Mania, and others will probably be unplayable through this compatibility layer. Or maybe Valve has a solution to this, who knows. Pro, is this critical mass? It doesn't make me a fanboy for thinking that Linux will eventually be the de facto standard in desktop computing. It's already the standard in the rest of the computing world. It's merely a matter of time at this point. Even Microsoft knows it. This could be the critical mass Linux and SteamOS needs in order to turn the tides and become the default PC gaming platform. Con, crowdsource support. Knowing how Valve operates, determining which titles are supported may be crowdsourced and left to the community to figure out, which isn't ideal at all. I mean, just look at the Steam controller's community settings. Yeah, it would be a mess. Anyway, with all that being said, I don't want to poo-poo on this idea too much. That wasn't the aim of this video. In fact, I believe it'll probably be an overall net positive for Linux gaming, but I want to know what you think. Did I miss a pro or a con? Leave me a comment and let me know, or hit me up on Twitter @TheLinuxGamer. But yeah, if you believe in the work that I do, you can support the show over on Patreon, or you can pick up a t-shirt over on Teespring. There's a link in the description. But whatever you do, whether it's hitting that like button or sharing this video with your friends, don't forget to subscribe to see more from me, the Linux Gamer. And as always, thanks for watching.